Hey everyone and welcome to Storytime. My name is Jake and today we are going to be looking at the subreddit r/maliciouscompliance, where people conform to the letter but not the spirit of a request. If you're new around here, please do hit subscribe down below so that you never miss out on another video. But for now, let's sit back, relax, and enjoy some malicious compliance. Grandma also got the bank. So around 2011, my grandma had a fall and it messed up her leg. After about a year of constant infection and other issues, she got it amputated. Because I was 17 and poor, my grandma and I had a pretty cool deal. I could use her car whenever I needed, as long as I drove her to appointments, shopping, etc. I was down because free car, and she'd always get me lunch or something. So after a few years, we go to the bank. We went every other week for her to get out cash. Grandma always wanted to go into the bank and talk to people rather than use the ATM to withdraw. No big deal. She's old and lonely, so I'd wheel her in and we'd wait in line so she can make small talk. We get to a teller she knows, who greets her as usual. Grandma knows her name and they do the small talk and we get to the withdrawal. "I just need your license, Grandma." "Here you go." This was as usual. She'd show it each time. Sorry Grandma, we can't accept. It's been expired for 2 years." "Well, yeah, I can't drive. One leg, remember? And I used it last week and the week before, etc." "Sorry, we can't accept it." "Well, let me talk to Bill, the manager." Teller fetches Bill, who greets my grandma. They make small talk, and then he tells her the same thing. I ask if I can withdraw it for her. I show my license, same last name. I have an account there too, that she had originally helped me get, and her name was on. No dice. They don't offer any other solutions, just no. So Grandma just smiles and says she'll be back. I roll her outside, and she apologizes that today will be longer than our usual 2-hour errand trip. I didn't have much to do, so whatever. We go to the DMV, in the same plaza, and spend 2 hours getting her a temporary ID, no photo, and wheel back over to the bank. We roll in, and Bill greets her, but says he still can't let her withdraw. Probably assumed she'd just tried to get a different teller. "Not a problem. OP, since these people treat your grandma, a loyal customer for 45 years like crap, gave her no warning they were changing policy, and offered no help on a solution, close your account." I'm a bit skeptical, but do what she says. I only had about $80 in it anyways. "Threatening to close your account won't let us withdraw your grandma's funds." "Not threatening, I want to close." "Okay, your loss." "Our family won't support a bank that is so impersonal, so now I want to close my accounts." Well, we can't without ID." "Well, here is this flimsy piece of paper from the DMV. No picture, that says who I am." Bill starts getting nervous. Apologizes and says he can do the withdrawal, but Grandma is steadfast into doing it. Bill has to make a bunch of calls and begs Grandma to stay. No dice. Grandma withdraws $50,000 in cash, the most they would allow to hand a person on short notice, and has the bank transfer another $400,000 or so into her new bank of choice. We went there right after the DMV and opened a new account for her and I. I didn't mention it earlier as it gives it away. Bill apologized the whole time, was trying to get her to stay on offering all sorts of reward and preferred checking, etc. Grandma made a big scene about it, telling everyone that they wouldn't let this poor amputee old lady get out her own money, and the competitor bank offers a $100 sign-on bonus for opening an account, and everyone should go there instead. Bill looked like he was passing a kidney stone when he realized she was serious and how much money he just lost their branch. Obligatory, yes. I know they wanted ID for security purposes, and it is a good practice. For 2 years, they never cared or mentioned it, and suddenly bam! If they had done something like, hey, this time we can accept it because we know you, but we just updated our policy so you will need to get an updated ID, Grandma would have been cool, but nope. They didn't even offer things like, go use the ATM, or write your grandson a check and he can cash it. They were just being stubborn on policy. If that's the policy they actually have, that is the stupidest policy ever. So this driving license, which has her name and all her details on, just because it's expired, they can't open a bank or open funds out of the bank. Like, surely she just can't drive on it, not literally withdraw her own money. I know what I ordered, just make it. Years ago, I worked at a local coffee shop. We served the standard coffee shop menu of coffee drinks and pastries we made in-house. One of our coffee drinks on the menu was a macchiato. We served a traditional macchiato, which is a double shot of espresso with a touch of steamed milk and milk foam. But since a certain chain has named a very different drink the same thing, I would always try to clarify what the customer was ordering when they asked for one. One day, a woman came up to the counter on her cell phone. She briefly pulled the phone away from her head, long enough to mouth, "Caramel macchiato" at me. I started my spiel about how we serve a traditional macchiato, which is quite small. Did she want that, or one like the other place makes? She cut me off 3 words in and dramatically said, "I know what it is, just make it." So I rang her up and made it. I made her a tiny drink with espresso, caramel syrup, and milk foam. When I gave it to her, she finally got off her phone call and told me I clearly made it wrong. I explained I made what she ordered, as she told me she knows what she was ordering. She now said she wanted one like she would get at a national chain, which I happily made and charged her for. She did not get a refund on the first drink. I'll never understand the people that think their phone call is more important than when they're trying to order something. Like, you're waiting in the line, you're choosing to go order a coffee, just put the phone call down for a second. All you need is $5. I was stationed in Germany in the 80s, and when it came time for me to PCS, go to my next duty assignment, nobody realised they hadn't gotten me my orders. Typically, you would receive your orders for your next assignment about 45 days in advance, so you could get everything in order, turn in all of your gear, and clear the post. There are dozens of things you have to do, and it takes some time. Unfortunately, nobody realised that I hadn't gotten my orders until about 2 weeks before I was due to leave, and I didn't know any better because it was my first duty station. After receiving my orders, I had to clear everything in about 2 days, which required my travelling to an entirely different city since our company headquarters was located about 2 hours from where my platoon was stationed. To say it was grueling is pretty much an understatement, but I somehow managed it. One of the last things I needed to do was close out my bank account, so off to the bank I went, orders in hand. When I inquired about how to close my account, I was told I needed to leave them 3 copies of my orders and they would freeze my account for 30 days and then I could have my money. The trouble with that was I was going on leave in about 10 days at that point, and that was all the money I had, other than a few marks in my pocket. I understood why they did it, but it didn't help me at that point. Since it was a checking account, they wanted to make sure I didn't run amok with a checkbook and leave a bunch of merchants with bounced checks. So after a moment of thought, I thanked them and told them I'd have to think about it, and then got in line for a teller. When I got up to her, I inquired as to how much I had to leave in my account to keep it open, and she replied, $5. I told her to give me everything except the $5, and I left. I figured $5 was a small price to pay for 30 days. I did leave a forwarding address, so for about 3 years, I got my statement with the balance increasing by a couple of cents, and eventually they closed my account for lack of activity, I guess. Working around the problem. This is my dad's story. My dad is the shop supervisor for a government repair garage, and as a result, there are a lot of stupid rules. The one discussed today will be the one that says that all line items over $1,500 goes to tender. For years, he's tried really hard to provide good tools and equipment for his staff. Every time something goes to tender, it turns out to be cheap junk that breaks too soon or is just completely unusable. A few examples of this are a vehicle scan tool and an overhead crane that went to tender. The scan tool received was $200. The government paid almost $2,000 at the local Canadian Tire. It didn't have the enhanced abilities of a proper professional scanner. The overhead crane was really cheap and broke on the first use. The tender also doesn't allow for specific items either. For example, an air compressor can only be listed on tender by its horsepower rating, with no mention of any other details like the tank size and compressor type. Trying to get a proper scan tool for the shop, my dad skirted the rules and bought one from the local Snap-on dealer. His decision got vetoed and it was to be returned. It costs $4,500 for your information. Now onto the good part. In order to get the scan tool he wanted, instead of returning it to the Snap-on dealer, he asked him if he would be able to pay with installments. The Snap-on guy agreed and did 5 installments over 5 days. To get the crane he wanted, he was even more creative. As it turns out, there's no need to go to the tender when you're buying repair parts. So, he purchased the entirety of his overhead crane as components for repair. It's been his strategy ever since. Oh no, I can't pay X amount. Okay, I'll just pay Y amount 5 times. Oh yeah, that seems good. Ikea delivery man versus my 2-story house. Small act of malicious compliance from a few years ago I still enjoy chuckling about today. My husband and I bought our first home, and I got my dream of kitting it out in Ikea furniture. Some yearn for bigger things in life, this was my middle class dream. We live far away, a 2.5-hour drive from Ikea, and had ordered quite a bit of kit, so we splurged on delivery. Delivery day arrives and the truck rolls up to our house. Now, we have a 2-story house, and had ordered 2 wardrobes, a bed, a mattress, armoire for upstairs, and 6 bookcases with doors, a large lounge chair, 12 wall cabinets, and a large TV cabinet for downstairs. It was a lot of flat pack. Where would you like the boxes? I need some upstairs and some downstairs, please. I can tell you which is which when I see the boxes come in. I know what's what because I'd already seen them at the Ikea when we bought them before delivery. Can't do that, we only deliver them to 1 room. Then I'll have them all upstairs, please. Needless to say, delivery man quickly changed his mind. Edit to explain, where I live, delivery is contracted out to a third-party company, but the Ikea delivery T&C specify that unless there is some safety issue, the items should be delivered to your room of choice, and that they have sufficient access to staircases and lifts. Another further explanation, there were 3 or 4 delivery guys, so I was not making some poor fella schlep it all upstairs by himself. I'm not that cruel. Yep, and then in 3 days' time, when everything's almost set up, she'll realize that, oh, we don't have that one screw that holds everything together, and then you have to get the delivery guy to send you another one, and it's awful, I hate it. Hey everyone, I hope you all had a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to check out some other videos, then click on screen right now, or check out the playlist down below. If you enjoyed that video, then please do leave a like, and if you want to submit your own stories, then you can do so by joining the Discord in the top link in the description. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.